Getting a little closer here. Are you ready?
Yeah. So we're
Let's start it.
recording. We're good.
Yeah. All right, let's start this bad boy in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hey, everybody, welcome back to a fresh new release, kind of Speak Freely. It kind of works. It kind of
Yeah, yeah.
works. Dude, I
This
don't I don't plan these ahead of time.
the
You know what I mean?
podcast of the summer.
Yeah. Welcome to the biggest blockbuster of this podcast's short life so far. Or whatever. I don't know. Welcome or how about welcome to the premiere of this new episode of Speak Freely. There's a lot of puns now. I've
It's a
opened the
pod. It's a
floodgates.
pod buster.
It's a pod but ooh, I like that. It's a podbuster. It's the podbuster of the summer.
There
Uh
you go.
Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs down, unfortunately. But what do they know? Rated fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. I am, of course, as always, Mr. Freely, along with Mr. Speak. Kuno, how are you?
I'm good. Good. How are you today?
I'm all right, man. I've been
You're looking
running
pretty
around.
fresh.
Thanks, man. I've been doing a lot of errands today. You ever have that thing? I'm sure you don't, because you're still 28, despite being the same age as me. But you ever have one of those days where it's just like you do all the stuff you were meant to do and you do it early and you come home and it's just like everything, like your brain, your body's just like, let's just lay down forever.
Yes. Oh, all the time.
And it's like you're sleepy but you can't sleep. So you try to do something but you can't do something. So you're just kind of like mindlessly living.
Yeah, it's like your body just kind of gives up on you, but your
Yeah, it's
mind it's still like, but it's still daylight.
yeah, it's like we still got shit to do, but it's like but my body has no motivation to do any of it.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me today. Like I woke up like around, I guess 9, 10 a.m. your time, and I just like got up. I've been running around, going to all different places because I'm going on vacation tomorrow. Yes, and just running around, making sure like I got all my food ready for the Airbnb. I got all the games ready. I got my luggage ready. This and that, blah blah blah. And then I was like, oh, I need to get this for tomorrow, and I just ran around. And eventually, before I knew it, it was already like 5 p.m. your time. And I come home like I think I got everything, and I'm just like, all right, well, when I get home, I'm gonna do this, this, and that. And when I came home, I came upstairs. I just like sat on the couch, and my brain immediately went, yeah, we're not doing shit. You're not
By
doing
the way,
anything.
but I like the way you go like I woke up like 9, 10 your time to make it
Yeah,
sound a lot earlier.
to make it. Yeah, exactly. I was hoping you catch that. Because
Yeah.
if we go by Central Time, I woke up 11, 12 p.m.
Right.
But I'm changing my mindset. Cause I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be
You
there in
gotta
like a little over a week now.
Yeah, you gotta prepare for yourself.
Yes,
That
yes.
what do they call it? Jet lag. But for you, it'll be like a car lag.
No, well, a little. I guess a little bit. I know it's gonna take adjusting, but this is what I sincerely hope. I hope it's adjusting in the sense of like I get a regular sleep schedule for Pacific time. I hope it's not adjusting to my body's like, oh, this is the new 12. So then I keep waking up at 12, but now I'm waking up at 12 Pacific time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that would fucking suck. No, I want to wake up like at 9 or 10, but my body's weird, man. I've had weekends, like no joke. I've had weekends where I would have to wake up early, like 6, 5 a.m. my time. Like legitimately, I'd have to wake up Saturday, Sunday, and Monday at that time. And then once that, I'm just like, all right, I don't have to sleep that time anymore. Like the next day, my body will literally sleep for 12 hours and I'll wake up again like the following day, like at 11, 12 p.m. Like, what the fuck? Like, why
Like you
can't I
gotta
have
get a good rhythm going, and then all of a sudden,
and nope, my body's like, nah, fam. This ain't us. I'm like, damn it, buddy. We're doing so good. We're going to be one of the normal people. But whatever. It is.
yeah, your
But
body's
you
like
know
you're a
what's
musician.
yeah, but you know what's funny though? Every time I visited California, I'll wake up like at 8, 9 a.m. over there. Like no joke. Like I'll get 7, 8 hours of sleep, or I would go to sleep late over there, like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and I still wake up like at 8, 9 over there. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see how I adjust. I think I will though. I'll have to because I actually have a job now. I didn't tell you this.
It's
So
official.
news of the week that matters to us. I officially have a job there at a.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Um, I'm starting off Wednesdays for right now. But it's summer hours, so I mean, talking to my new boss, I guess technically, she was saying that hopefully, once like school is back in session and kids are coming back out from summer vacation, it'll be like Monday through Thursday full hours when the school's open. I'm teaching at a school, so
Nice.
and I still have that interview with another place too. So hopefully, I can get them to fill out my Monday and Fridays, and boom, there I go. I have a full week of work.
Yeah.
So very excited when I got that news. That was like I was pumped. I was like, yes, like you know what I mean? Because it was like it's scary, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be fun,
Now
man.
you
I'm
can
very
go on
excited.
vacation with peace in mind.
Yeah, yeah, I could be like I can actually save up money now and do stuff. So pretty excited, man. Pretty exciting stuff. But yeah. What I don't have a segment for it, so we're in it now. This is news of the week that matters to us. Boom. What's some news of the week that matters to you this week? Yeah, I was quiet there because I was thinking like, well, we're doing it, so like, but whatever. Anyways,
We're in it. All right,
we're in
let's
it
go
now,
for it.
man. We're in the end game now. Tony, there was no other way. If you could, this would be magical. If you could actually make me fade away, that's
Mm,
probably too much video
Fat
editing.
chance.
Just all right, just a big old, just blur me out right here. Ready? Oh no, they can't see me flipping. They probably could. You probably didn't do any of
I'm not gonna do any of that. Now.
it. But what's some news of the week that matters to you?
So the All Star game just happened a couple of days
Oh
ago.
yeah. Oh, that's dude. I didn't watch it, but I did watch the home run derby, and I was losing my shit. Did you watch the
The
home
home
run
run
derby?
derby was fantastic. I loved
Dude,
it.
fucking Pete, right? Pete Alonso is everyone's spirit animal. Just 35 home runs casually in the first round. And
Yeah, like no problem.
in that post interview, he's like, "Oh, this is like my favorite thing ever. I'm winning it this year. Like, I made sure to go first. I am the bar. I am the standard." And I'm just like, fucking Pete. And they're like, "What do you think about? I mean, it's a great story, surviving cancer, but I'm here to win. So, yeah,
No mercy.
no mercy." Pete Alonso. I fucking loved it. It was so fun, dude. But talk about the All Star game because I didn't get to
Yeah.
watch it.
Well, if you want to talk about the home run derby, Shohei Otani versus Juan Soto, that was pretty fun too. And it had to go into like overtime, and
Okay, I will say you might get mad at me about this. Maybe I expected more out of Otani. Like he was struggling that first round.
yeah, no, I think what happened is because he's leading the league in home runs, right, all season long, but he's hitting these home runs off of like 90 miles per hour, 95 miles per hour, right? So when he gets his little lobs that are like 50 miles an hour, his timing is going to be off. And it sucks that it took him a while to like get into a good
to
rhythm.
to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because it looked like, and I think the announcer said it too. It just looked like he was just trying to like fucking just smash him. It's like you can't, you gotta pick him, dude. Like he was just like, "Ugh," just like trying to smack him, and like, but they were lobs that they were throwing at him. But eventually he did catch a rhythm and he figured it out. But I think the
Yeah.
rhythm was like a little too late.
Yeah. He was gassed by that at the
Yeah.
end of
Oh
it.
my god, dude. When once he was finished, and just seeing him like keel over, like I was just like, holy shit, this guy's gonna lose round one. Like, no. All that build
Yeah.
up and he's gonna lose, and sure enough. That being said, it was the most entertaining round one, him and Soto going back and forth like that.
Yeah. But then again, the actual All Star game had Shohei Otani first lead off hitting and then pitching the bottom of the first inning. Right. That was a lot of fun. Just seeing that. Because he got chosen twice for the All Star game. Like once as a player and then once as a pitcher.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
That sounds like fun.
that was
Who
fun.
won? AL
American
or
League.
of course. Wow. Okay. Who was? Because again, I didn't really pay that much attention to it, and then when the game came, I just didn't have time to watch it that night. Who was? Who was the lineup? Do you know? I know it was Actually, I don't know who wasn't. Man, you know what? I'm gonna look this up. I have no idea who the lineup was for the AL or for the M. I know. No, NL had Tatis in it, and like, cause he was there during the home run derby. Let me see if I
Let
could
me
do it.
see.
All right,
AL
here we
All
go.
Stars. You got it? Okay.
Yeah, I think I got it. So, yeah, for the starting pitchers for the AL, it was Otani, and then for
Mm-hmm.
NL was Scherzer, and the lineup was Otani, Vladimir, Xander, Aaron Judge, of course, Rafael Devers, Marcus Simon, Salvador Perez, Teoscar Hernandez, and Cedric Mullins. Okay, and the National League lineup was Tatis, Muncy, Arenado, Freddie Freeman, Nick Castellanos, Jess Winker, JT Romuto, Brian Reynolds, and Adam Frazier. Okay. Well, and then the elected starters for the AL: Perez, Guerrero, Simon, Rafael Devers, Xander, Trout, but I don't think he played, right?
No, he's still injured.
Yeah. Judge, yeah. Interesting. Okay. Did Cole pitch? I don't think he did, right?
I think he elected not to.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Let me see here. Unless the starters, where's the pitchers? Yeah. Yeah, he elected not to. Same with Bieber. Huh. Okay. Well, look, I mean, what I really like about it, it's ultimately, if we're really thinking about it, it's ultimately kind of meaningless in terms of what it does for the season. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of a nice little change of pace, a nice little break. It's a good midway point. Like, we're halfway through the season now, and like, and for the most part, most players get along because they're all under the same union and stuff like that. So it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
nice to see that camaraderie.
Yeah, and the ratings came out, and then so the All Star game for the baseball was rated higher than the NBA All Star game, and rated higher than the NFL All Pro game.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah,
because it's fun. It's just good vibes all around.
yeah,
There's no shenanigans. You can, and I think the players translate that very well on screen too. Like again,
yeah.
home run derby. Even though that like Pete was taking it maybe a little too seriously, he was still having fun though, bobbing his head to the music and stuff like that. Just
Mm-hmm.
kind of all the guys laughing and like it's just good vibes. Like how can you not be
Yeah.
like, yeah, let's surround ourselves with that energy. So that was fun. Any other news of the week that matters to you?
Mm, other than Loki,
Oh, you want to talk about
mm,
Loki? Oh, all right.
I wasn't sure if you actually watched it or not.
I watched the whole season on Wednesday. So
Awesome.
yesterday, which would be yesterday as of this recording. I'll let you go first because you're the one who's like actually watched it almost every week.
Yes, I did watch religiously every week
Yeah,
for six
yeah.
weeks.
Go for it.
Um, it's my favorite of the three Marvel series. I loved Loki the most. Like WandaVision, I thought was like going to be the standard, but what Loki did was, I think, very different, and for me personally, was a little bit more engaging. Where most of the series, and it's weird because most of the series was like just two people sitting down having a conversation, but I was engaged like the whole time. Yeah, even the final episode with He Who Remains, just him talking to like Sylvie and Loki and like explaining things and like the anticipation of like what's gonna come next. Like I was on the edge of my seat watching the whole time.
Yeah, I liked it. It's different because I didn't have for whatever reason this is the one MCU show I didn't watch religiously. Like Like when WandaVision came out, religiously I was waiting for it, or I would
Mhm.
watch it first thing the following morning. Same thing with Captain America and the Winter Soldier for the most part, or Falcon technically, whatever. It's Captain America now, so that's what we're calling it, Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Um, I watched Loki, and then I just didn't watch it again until this week, for whatever reason. And watching it back to back, I think it does, in a sense, hinder the excitement for it because you're not sitting with like
Mm.
the anticipation of next week. You know what I mean? Because I just have to be like, oh man, that's amazing. I wonder what happens. I'm about to find out. Click. You know what I mean? Uh, that being said, the worst part was obviously like going on my Twitter and occasionally getting spoiled about certain episodes, which that wasn't fun. Um, but as a whole, I do like the series a lot. I do like Loki's character development in it because like they kind of because like it's a different version of the Loki that we're used to, right?
Mhm.
The sacred timeline Loki is technically dead, technically, right? So we got the variant Loki, right? This new Loki, which if we remember, like beginning of the series, he starts off as like old school Loki, but by the end of the series, we kind of get to see his arc again, but we see it in a different light. You know what I mean? Like, which I thought was very interesting. That whole arc of him being like the bad guy to kind of become like an anti-hero, which throughout the
Mhm.
whole entirety of the MCU movies, that's been his arc, right? We know him as the bad guy in like the first Thor through Avengers, and then by the end of Ragnarok and beginning of Infinity War, when he ultimately gets killed, he kind of has that turn. He becomes like our favorite anti-hero. Where yeah, he is mischievous and stuff like that, but ultimately, like deep down inside, he is trying to be good at the very least, right? Not
Mhm.
everyone's entirely good, not everyone's entirely bad. And we kind of get that same thing again here, but I feel like this arc in particular felt a little more satisfying because of like how quickly we get to see it instead of seeing it kind of sort of evolve during the process of the MCU when they're just kind of trying to figure shit out, slowly starting to acquire back all their properties under the Disney umbrella. And this just kind of felt like now we have the universe. Let's like give the people this arc again, remind them why they love Loki so much, but let's also like lay the foundation for what's to come in the new phases of Marvel. Um, the finale did feel a little anticlimactic for me personally. And again, I really think that's kind of because of just watching the whole series in one sitting compared to like anticipating it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Also because again, Twitter was like hyping it up so much when I woke up and I was like, fuck, it better be this good. And whenever people hype shit up for you, it never quite lives up to your level of expectation.
Mhm.
That being said, I am very excited about the ramifications of all the variant timelines. The beginning of He Who Remains. The speculation: is he Kang the Conqueror? Is he not Kang the Conqueror? Um, how they're gonna like? Cause I like I have a lot of friends who do like analysis shows and stuff like that. And one of the big things one of them was saying was like, I think what's gonna happen is the new big bad is gonna be Kang the Conqueror, whereas like Marvel was first like big saga was leading up to Thanos. This new saga is gonna lead up to the multiverse war and ultimately lead up to Kang the Conqueror, the original Kang as like the big bad guy,
Mhm.
which I think is very exciting. It's gonna be bananas bonkers, which I'm all down for. And I personally think through the process of all this, we're gonna fight Kang over and over again, but we're gonna get different variants until eventually it leads to the final variant, the final original Kang. You know what I'm saying? So very excited. I think the character arcs pay off. They're not all entirely satisfying. Where like Loki has like an arc that feels complete. Sylvie feels like her arc
It's just beginning.
is just beginning. Like she didn't change ultimately. Like she was so driven by revenge. And one of my friends said it best. I think shout out to Inner Geekdom Show. It was either Burke or Winston who said like I think it was Burke who said like everyone was thinking Sylvie was going to be like Loki's aggression, but it was really Loki's selfishness. Like despite knowing what the ramifications of what might happen if you kill off He Who Remains might happen to the universe, she's still like, but I want to do what I want to do. Whereas like our Loki, our variant was like, let's really think about it. This is bigger than just you and me. Like we can't be selfish about this. So I really thought that ending was dramatic, a little unsatisfying because we've been on this journey with them for through 6 episodes. But ultimately, I also kind of realized it's not over. There's a season 2 coming, and Marvel said so itself. Spoiler alerts, by the way. I forgot to say that before we got into this discussion. Um, but yeah, but obviously there's a season 2 coming, so I'm
Yeah.
excited for it. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
my
For
favorite
me,
MCU show, but
I think the ending of this season, right, with Sylvie and Loki was kind of satisfying in that Loki can't be happy, right? Like it has to end in tragedy for him. And I think throughout the course of this fight, you kind of figuring out that Loki is completely in love with Sylvie, but Sylvie is not in love with Loki. Really ties back into the dagger metaphor that Loki was going for, right? And in the second episode or third, I forget, but it's like love is a dagger. It's beautiful until it makes you bleed. When you reach for it, ultimately it disappears. And basically, this is what the fight was. It's Loki reaching out for the dagger, right, Sylvie, and it ultimately not being there for him. And then you get to see him at the end where he's having this moment, right? He's sitting down by himself, and the camera kind of like pans, it zooms into his face, right? And you kind of, this is the moment you figure out, okay, you got to watch his eyes. If his eyes are like hard, right, then like, oh, he's regressed back to the evil Loki. But it's not, right? It's soft, it's compassionate. It's like, no, like I still want her. I still want to go back and get her. I need to go figure out how to make that happen. And I think even though it ended in tragedy for their romance, there's still hope. And for me, that's what I really loved about this particular character study.
that being said, isn't it weird that essentially Loki fell in love with himself?
That's perfect.
I mean, it makes sense, but it's also like a little bit like you kind of forget because it's obviously different actors and what have you. But when you really think about
Yeah.
it in the context of the show, it's a little gross.
So here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Would you fall in love with a female version of yourself?
Oh God, no. I don't think I'd be able to
Right.
stand me.
It's not you from another world, right? But it's basically just all your traits and personalities, but in female form.
I don't think so. I really don't think so. But then again, who knows? I really don't think so though. It's just weird. I think I'd just be. I think by the very nature, in the context of this fictional show, I'm like, this is kind of weird. I think in real life, it'd be even more weird for me. So I don't know. Until that moment happens, I really won't know. What about you?
I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna find someone who's just like you, but female.
Just like me, but female. Good luck,
Yes.
buddy. Would you fall in love with the female version of yourself?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Her name's Brianna instead of Brian.
Why not? We like the same stuff. We communicate in the same way.
Yeah, but it's it's you. Like
But
it's
it's not
literally,
me.
but it is you. Anyways, any other news we should talk about?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we'll end the Loki discussion of would you love yourself in the opposite sex form or, you know, in the same form. Could you? If it was literally you, like could you love yourself romantically? 'Cause some of us struggle to love ourselves just
Right
emotionally, you know
now.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But can you love yourself like a copy of you, whether it's like the exact same copy or the opposite sex? Could you love your love yourself romantically? And that's a weird question that we're gonna leave to our audience. You tell us,
Let
everybody.
us
Leave it
know
in
in
the
the comments
comment.
below.
Leave it in the comment section. Let's get weird about it. Speaking of let's get weird, today's topic is top 3 Steven Spielberg movies. I don't know why that would be weird.
What a
Um,
weird director that guy is.
yeah, so odd, right? Him and
Yeah.
his Academy Awards. Um, I have no
Weird.
good segue for it. All right, there's only so much I can do. Okay. Anyways, we're talking about our top 3 Steven Spielberg films. We haven't done a top 3 in a hot minute, so the way we like to do this is we'll go back and forth. I'll start the list with my third place film, and then Brian will say his, and then I'll say my two, and then blah 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 blah. And
Mhm.
before we hit our number one, we'll probably mention some honorable mentions if we have any. So you ready to go? You got your notes? Did you make your list
Yes.
finally? Because pulled the curtain back a little bit. He still wasn't sure what his top 3 was going to be. I know what mine is. So
Oh, so for once, when I'm not actually ready, you want to talk about that? Okay.
yeah, yeah. Put you under the limelight for once. For once in this podcast's life, Brian is slightly underprepared. Not completely underprepared. That's been me a lot. I'll own up to that. But you're slightly, you know, you didn't put in all your citations. You know what I'm saying?
I don't have all my notes. I don't even have my directors. Oh my god, who directed this movie?
Oh my god. Anyways, here's my number 3. So my list is gonna be a little bit different. Instead of being subjectively like trying, all right, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. Instead of trying to view it like as in like what is like his best films, I went more with like what do I enjoy the most, right?
Same.
So my top 3 is going to be pretty much movies that I love from Steven Spielberg. And by the way, we're doing directing, so no writer credit or what he produced, specifically what Steven Spielberg directed.
Oh, that changes my list.
We talked about this last week. Man, you didn't understand my homework assignment. So that being said, my number 3, I did try to view it a little objectively and try to put like a film that I think is his best film. It's not personally my favorite film, but I do think it's one of his best, if not the best film he's directed. And my number 3 is Saving Private Ryan with that great ensemble of Tom Hanks. Vin Diesel's in it, surprisingly. A young Vin Diesel. He is. Yes, he is, sir. Look it up. Matt Damon. Good God. It has a very, very amazing cast. Um, yeah, just Tom Hanks obviously is a leading actor. We have Edward Burns, Barry Pepper, Adam Goldberg, a young Vin Diesel, Giovanni Ribisi, Jeremy Davis, Matt Damon, Paul Giamatti's in it. My God, look at what a cast! But obviously, this movie a little infamous for people feeling it got snubbed at the Oscars. It was up for Best Picture and ultimately Shakespeare in Love won, which is not a bad film. It's not a bad film. I don't think it's a bad film. The best film of that year, though. I mean, I honestly think it's one of the biggest snubs, in my personal opinion, of Oscar history. Because this movie, besides being, well directed and great cinematography and wonderful score by John Williams, it's one of those few movies where it literally transports you in a moment in time. Like the movie is completely enthralling and just it puts you into World War II, 1944, 1945-ish, where this is it takes place right after V-Day, I think. No, it takes place at the beginning of V-Day and then everything after that. All right. So, and it's so harrowing, it's depressing, it's thrilling, it's scary. It's like it's everything.
Suspenseful.
It's I mean, man, it's gonna be so hard talking about it because I really think this film is literally it's a work of art. It's not just like a great cinematic experience; it's a literal work of art. Everything about it it transports you to that moment, and it's like this is what the war was like for a lot of men and women during that time. And I think the only film that I can kind of think that does as good of a job, if not maybe slightly better, is oh god, I'm blank. 1915 by Shawn Mendes, I think. Right? Am I thinking?
1917.
1917. I'm sorry. Yeah, 1917. And that is directed by Shawn Mendes, right? If I remember that correctly.
Yes.
And that movie too does a great job of transporting you into that specific point in history. But that movie, before that movie could run, Saving Private Ryan walked before it. You know what I mean? Like this movie is
Hmm.
pretty much the pinnacle of war movies, to the point that like everything that kind of comes out after this is always almost always compared to Saving Private Ryan afterwards. You know what I mean? Like Wind Talkers and We Were Soldiers and yeah, Hacksaw Ridge. Pretty much any other movie you can think about the war is always compared to this film. Um, and yeah, I mean, I can blush about it all day. I honestly think it's probably his greatest film of all time. And I was really fighting between this one and Schindler's List,
Mm.
because I think Schindler's List is also amazing. But I also kind of want to. This is gonna sound weird, but I also want to go towards movies that I enjoy a little bit more. And like Saving Private Ryan is not necessarily an easy watch per se, but it's easier than Schindler's List. Like
Oh
Schindler's
yeah.
List is, I mean, you got to be in a mood to watch that film, because when you're finished watching it, you're gonna be an emotional wreck, unless of course you're a psychopath. Sorry, but that's my number three.
And if you are a psychopath, at David B Music 21. Just saying.
Yeah, at me, so we can know who you are. We want to know if you're a psychopath. FBI. All right, Brian, what's your number
Yes.
three?
Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. No, I don't even know what if that's even the name.
Kingdom of the
Kingdom,
Crystal
Kingdom of the
Skull.
Crystal Skulls. Yeah, I butchered that.
You know what? All right, Brian, you have been officially fired. Welcome to the David B Show.
um, so I also went very subjective, right? It's not films that I think are necessarily his best directed films. It's more of like the ones I enjoy, the ones I can go back to and watch over and over again. And for number three, I am going to go with E.T. To me, that feels like a safe choice, right? In that it's one of his most well-known films. It's one that's talked about a lot. It's one of the ones that are considered like one of his best films, but also it captures a lot of like what Spielberg is as a director, right? It has a lot of that childhood wonder. It's got the great music score. It's got the comic book panel kind of thing, right? He does this a lot where like the camera focuses directly on someone's face and it tells you exactly what they're seeing, what they're experiencing, right? It tells you how to feel by watching their face before you even know what's going to come, right? And in comic books, it's like that panel right before the splash page, right? Where it's like bottom of the corner, you see someone reacting to something and you know something's coming. So you flip over that page. It's this huge, sprawling piece of art that tells you, like, wow, look at this. Yeah. Plus, the ride at Universal was one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's a
And
bummer
I
they
think
took it
that,
out of Hollywood.
yeah. But I think more so it's like that ride kind of has colored my experience of ET in a way where it's like, I do like this film and I love watching it over and over again.
Interesting. Interesting. E.T. freaked me out as a kid.
It did to me too. Yeah.
And then it bummed me out. And then I was like, I don't want to experience this as a child. It scared me and then it depressed me. And now I was like 3. And I was like, I don't know what to do with these emotions. I don't know what they are. I'm never watching this again.
Yeah, but I think that also has kind of defined my taste in movies ever since. Because I
Oh,
like that
definitely.
stuff. Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely, for sure. I mean, as a kid, I said that, but I've watched that movie a few times too.
Yeah.
It's very iconic, obviously. Like, because correct me if I'm wrong, he made Close Encounters and then he made E.T., right?
Ah, I think so. I think you're
I
right.
think that's how it goes. So I feel
Let's
like,
see. Yeah, Close Encounters, 77. E.T.'s 82.
yeah. So this movie, yeah, it kind of does capture, like you said, like Steven Spielberg's like
Trademarks.
trademarks, and it's like that childhood wonderment, kind of, and like expressing
Hmm.
it through Elliot and stuff like that, and then also in some ways expressing it through ET and like his curiosity about the world he's
Yeah,
kind of trapped in, and then ultimately also like the cruelty of man, in a sense.
that too. Yeah.
Um, I mean, themes that he obviously like throughout his whole career, like he kind of explores and tries to like put a microscope through.
Hmm.
Interesting choice. I would probably say, I mean, I like the movie. It's not my favorite Spielberg film.
I
It
take it
is
it's not
how
on your list.
it's not on my list, so it's not.
Mm.
Um, I would say though, I think if I were to do John Williams scores, I think this might be my favorite John Williams score. It's definitely for
Mm.
me his early work. It's definitely for me the most unique because I've gotten so much shit for this, but I'll say it on this podcast too. I think sometimes John Williams is a little derivative of himself in a lot of the shit he does. I'm sorry, but I said it. I mean,
That
no,
cancel. Cancel.
no, I said what I said. I mean, most musicians are, right. Even Danny Elfman to some extent is a little derivative of himself too, right? Um,
You think everything sounds like Wingo Bango? What's this band called?
yeah, no.
Oingo Boingo?
But I feel like this score in particular, being one of his earlier pieces of work, I feel like this score in particular really does a great job of portraying Steven Spielberg's themes emotionally through the music. It's just also harmonically super unique in my personal opinion compared to some of the other stuff. Whereas like some of the other stuff, he's very much like doing very operatic Wagner, Brahms, Beethoven-ish types of sounds.
Hmm.
This one feels really romantic in terms of like it's more Chopin. He's playing with extensions more. I'm saying a lot of musical shit, but the point is, this to me is probably his most unique, if not the most unique, score for any film for me personally. But in terms of the movie as a whole, not one of my favorites. Definitely up
Mm.
there, but for me personally, since we're being subjective, not one of my favorites. So,
Mm.
but I'm glad it's
So,
yours, bud.
so yeah, so top four. I get it. It's cool.
Yeah, sure. All
What's
right,
your number two?
my number 2. And when I watched this film as a kid, it terrified me. It fascinated me. It made me go, "Holy crap! Is this real?" As a child, right?
Yeah, so it
As,
is
as,
E.T.
and no, it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Didn't he direct that? It's very close. It's Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is my number 2. I think I was, if I remember, I vaguely remember this, but I think I was accidentally taken to Jurassic Park. And originally, like the movie itself is perfect portrayal of like me as a child. Opens up, I'm a little bored because just like, well, it opens up and I'm a little like, what's going on, right? Because of the Velociraptor attack. And then
Hmm.
as a kid, you're like, it's boring. People are talking, and then they go to the island, and then it's a dinosaur, and I'm like, as a kid, I'm like, it's a dinosaur. You know what I mean? Like I was like blown away. Like up to that point, besides seeing like the Ninja Turtles on screen, which also was like mind explosion. Seeing dinosaurs on screen, I was like, they did it. It's real. Where can we go see these guys? You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
then the movie gets terrifying, and he puts the kids through danger, and but then like they all make it. You know what I mean? And it's like as a kid, I was a very frightful kid. Like I was scared of the dark, and like I had nightmares and stuff like that. But this movie was a turning point in that it kind of made me appreciate the fear a little bit. You know what I mean? Like to where I could be like, yeah, things are scary, but it doesn't ultimately mean it's bad or like I'm gonna die or whatever. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you got to go through the fear, you got to go through that journey to come out at the end and appreciate other things in life, right? Which
Hmm.
I obviously thought of when I was a child, but but you know what I mean. As a kid, it made me go like, even though stuff is scary, sometimes scary can be fun. And then, much like you and the ET ride, my favorite ride of Hollywood was always the Jurassic Park ride. Going up that first hill, and then you hear the voice, "Welcome to Jurassic Park," and then the gates open. There's the animatronic, but it's always kind of broken, so the head's always like, you know what I mean? But it's kind of cool, right? So
Yeah.
the ride obviously maybe a little bit also kind of like supplements my love for the film. But then like I loved Lost World as well as a kid when that movie came out. But now in terms of like all the Jurassic Park films, like I gravitate towards this one the most because it's the most thematic. It's the OG one. It's kind of the most what's the word I'm looking for? Cinematically advanced film of its time. Like it did stuff with like effects and technology that weren't done up to this point, to where it really helped you suspend disbelief watching this film because it was a good use of practical and a good use of CGI at the time. And you can make the argument that this film eventually kind of leads to like Hollywood leaning towards more CGI than practical. You can kind of argue that's where it starts, that trend here in this film. But dude, that scene with the T Rex in the rain, and then you figure out, oh, that was practical. T Rex was real. You're like, what the fuck? And then also, John Williams, the most iconic theme probably of all time, next to Star Wars, right?
Next to Star Wars, sure, yeah.
Right? So, yeah, just an amazing fun film. And it's just, like it has everything, right? It's a somber blockbuster, sure. It's kind of a little bit of a monster film, sure. But also has like those very heady science fiction themes. Like, even though we can do it, should we do it? Did we ever stop to think if we should? Like Ian Malcolm would say, right? Did you never stop to think that
Hmm.
if you should, right? Life will find a way, and all these themes and stuff like that underneath, or in or mixed with like this suspense, thrilling monster movie action blockbuster thing. You know what I mean? It
Hmm.
juggles so many genres all at once, and it does it so seamlessly and, in my opinion, perfectly. So, my number two is Jurassic Park.
I almost so my number three was going to be between ET and Jurassic Park, right? Much for like what you were saying, like as a kid, I I'm pretty sure I was also accidentally taken to taken to see this movie, or I don't know if I was taken to see it, but I remember seeing it. I also remember watching my cousin play the video game. I think the video game is where I kind of first was like conscious of what Jurassic Park was. Um, and then I got to watch the film, and that kind of sparked in me this like fascination with dinosaurs. Like for most of my years in elementary school, I remember being taken to like it was like first or second grade. We go to the library, and the teacher's like, okay, like this section is for you in your age range, and I'd be like, no, but I want over there, like I want to go over there where I can get some like dinosaur books. You're like, no, that's too advanced for you. So, well, I'm gonna get it anyway. And and
And then
for
you just struggle saying ty ran us rs
like that's a stegosaurus.
stag stago stagosaurus. Yes.
Stego are us.
Yeah. A
No, but
bronchitis. Whoa, look at that bronchitis.
no, but for a while, like I was so obsessed with dinosaurs, I could name all the ones that were like available at the time. You know, some have gone away now. Some are like, oh no, like that's a mixture of this, and that no longer exists. But um, yeah, a Jurassic Park also big for me.
Big enough to be on your list? What's your number
Well,
two?
not Jurassic Park. It's number two for me is the Terminal.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, starring Tom Hanks. I remember, gosh, what year did this come out? I was like 9, 10. Let me see. 2004. No, I was like in high school. I remember being much younger watching this, but I remember it was like my parents, my aunts, and my uncles all gathered together on a couch.
Brian, I want to stop you real quick.
Yes.
How long ago was high school for you? You were much younger, buddy. We're 33. Continue.
No, I just say I remember feeling much younger watching this movie as opposed to actually being in 2004. But it was uh, my parents, my aunts, my uncles all sitting around a couch watching this like on a DVD at home, and then me kind of just like wandering away from my cousins for a little bit, kind of seeing what they're watching, and then just being like entranced by it. I sat down and started watching. I was engaged, and I think as far as Tom Hanks performances go, this one might be one of my favorites. Yeah, I think his character work in the Terminal is excellent.
Wow. Hot take. The bravery on display right now is because some people would argue, not me, I'm not arguing this. Some people would argue that accent, it was a choice. You know what I
Was a
mean?
choice, but he
It was
committed to it.
uh you remember Tropic Thunder? You don't go. You don't go. Well, I can't say it. But
Sure.
I mean, anyways, go on. I just derail. I'm just here to derail you. I apologize. I'm gonna shut up. Mute yourself, David.
Yeah, exactly. You got yeah. If you're still watching, dear listener, I apologize on behalf of David. No, but I think just for my personal taste, right? The things that I like, the the drama, the character studies, the idea of being trapped in a terminal with like no country, no home, it kind of freaked me out, to be honest. Yeah, I can see you laughing. Go ahead. What do you want to say? So number two, the terminal.
No, I'm not making fun of you for it. I just, yeah, that honestly, you picking number two makes me think I know what your number one is. But
Mm,
we'll get there when we get there. But I can
sure.
see why you like it. It definitely feels like a movie you gravitate towards more. The whole like dramatic side of Spielberg. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like obviously mine's leaning towards more like the big spectacle of
Spectacle of
Spielberg.
it. Yeah.
Which leads me to my number one film, which is probably no one else's number one Steven Spielberg for film, but it's my absolute favorite of his. I've watched this movie I don't know how many times as a kid, as a teenager, as an adult. I revisit it maybe once a year, or at least every couple of years. I revisit this film just because
The
of the whole.
Adventures of Tintin.
That's exactly right. That movie came out when I was a child.
Child at heart.
A Child at Heart. No, my absolute favorite film directed by Steven Spielberg is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Oh, The
I
Last Crusade.
Yes, I know for most people their favorite indie film is number 1, Raiders of the Lost Ark. My personal favorite is Last Crusade, man. From like the beginning of seeing him as a young kid to seeing his relationship with his slightly estranged father, the whole religious themes about it, searching for the cup of the covenant, and like like the attention to detail in terms of like Christian symbols and like slightly dogmatic Catholicism in it, while also kind of putting like the whole supernatural aspect over it and kind of being like a very fun action film. You know what I mean? Harrison Ford
Hmm.
is like, to me, he's peak Ford in this film. This feels like the most Harrison Ford film for me personally. Um, and it's just, man, I've watched it so many times. I remember some of my also too. There's like the nostalgia and the fondness of like the memories surrounding this film. Like every time I would go visit like my dad's side of the family and go visit his uncle, he'd almost always have this movies in the background, the Indiana Jones films. And I remember watching the first 3 films at my uncle's house and being terrified but fascinated by Raiders of the Lost Ark. Because Raiders of the Lost Ark has that scene at the end with the melting faces, which as a kid is like fucking horrifying. But Last Crusade felt more, even though it's like the first PG-13 film, quote unquote, right?
No, not Raiders. Temple of Doom.
No, Temple of Doom was PG. After that, they started making PG-13 films, right? I think, or was it because of Raiders that they started making PG-13 films? I know it's because of Indiana Jones films that MPAA is like, I think we need a new rating because
No,
parents were pissed off that like Raiders was PG and it was like super violent.
no, I think I know for sure it's Temple of Doom that changed it. So I guess Temple of Doom was PG, and then after that's when because
I'm
it was
pretty
like the
sure,
ripping of the hearts out. I think. Which
yeah, and the whole like Kali Ma and a slightly like satanic ritual happening in the middle of the film. Yeah, because Raiders is PG-13. It says right here, and I'm pretty sure if we were to go Temple of Doom, I'm pretty sure that movie is still PG, and that movie might have made him go, yeah, you know what, we need a new rating. Yeah, Temple is PG, so I'm pretty sure. Of course, if anyone knows more than me, definitely correct me in the comment section down below. But I'm pretty
yeah,
sure.
Raiders
La-
is also PG.
yeah, I'm pretty sure Last Crusade was like the first PG-13 film.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure about that. Um, but yeah, it's a great film. It's fun. It's harrowing. It's comical. It's slightly scary. It does what the previous 2 films did really well with like the horror and the action and the thrill and the
Hmm.
mystery and the s- supernatural religious aspects, and I think it does it perfectly. I genuinely believe in terms of like a fun blockbuster movie, this is a perfect film, and it's my personal favorite, directed by Steven Spielberg. And yeah,
Is it your favorite Lucasfilm? Right, this is Lucasfilm.
I think it's like I think Lucas had a writer's credit for this. I think I'm pretty sure he did. I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure he came up with like the idea of it. I don't know if he completely wrote. Yeah, he came up with the story. George Lucas story is credited. Um, that's a good question. Is it my favorite story by George Lucas? No, I don't think so. Cause I
Hmm.
actually really love Star Wars. I'm sorry, but I really love Star Wars. So
Okay, so,
probably,
so that aside, rank your Indiana Jones movies.
oh, easy. Last Crusade, Raiders. You ready for this?
Uh oh.
Kingdom, Temple of Doom.
Wow.
Yes.
Temple
And,
of Doom is
and I
last.
and I actually had this conversation with Brad Gilmore. Um, Temple of Doom just doesn't have that fun energy that the first 3 films I mentioned do. Like that movie's super dour and it's
Mm.
really dark, almost a little bit too dark to its detriment. The female hero is a very stereotypical annoying blonde in the film, right? Slightly racial stereotypes in the film, which I get it. It's a serial, blah 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 blah, but you know what I mean?
Mm.
Um, and it's just it's not. I rewatched it recently too to really make sure I still stand on this. It's not that fun to watch. It's a little it like and it's even less fun to watch with like your parents. It's just like it's just a really dark, somewhat cynical film, if I'm being honest.
Mm.
With the whole child labor thing and like again like the culty rituals and like the horror aspects, the slightly offensive stereotypes and blah blah blah. It's not a movie that to me personally holds up. It's honestly my least favorite of the four. I know. Everyone shits on Kingdom of this Crystal Skull. And yeah, some parts of it are hokey, for sure. But that movie's more fun for me. It has some fun moments in it. And it is hokey in like a real serial way where a lot of old serial stuff was hokey. So I don't mind it for that sense. It's not the best, obviously. That's why I put it at number 3. But it's more enjoyable to me compared to Temple of Doom. So,
Mm.
yeah. Last Crusade, Raiders, Kingdom, and then it's Temple. Unless we count the ride. In that case, it'd be Last Crusade, Raiders, Forbidden Journey, Kingdom, and then Temple.
Fair. Okay. Fair. That's fair.
All right, Brian.
Okay, number one.
You're number 1. Oh, wait, before we say your number 1,
Oh, sure.
honorable mentions, I'll let you say them first.
Oh, I think The Lost World, Jurassic Park.
Interesting. Over
Even
Jurassic Park for you?
I think even more so. I think The
Interesting.
Lost World to me, maybe because I was a little bit older, so watching, you get a little bit different feel that
Of
initially
course.
when you watch it, it resonates with me a little bit more. Um, what else?
I honestly, if we would have had this discussion like maybe 8 years ago, I'd probably be in the same boat with you because up to a
Mm,
certain point, Lost World to me was like that's the movie where I was like quote unquote coming of age, right? It's like at that
yeah,
perfect time frame of like you're not a child anymore, but you're not quite an adult yet.
yeah,
So that's kind of like our
the tween kind of
yeah. So
age.
it's kind of
Hmm.
like our Jurassic Park in a sense,
Yeah,
right? Because
definitely.
we were kind of too young to truly appreciate Jurassic Park, the first one, in terms of like its themes that it was trying to say. So yeah, but like having because I rewatched all the films again, like when I know Jurassic Kingdom was going to come out, and during
Hmm.
that rewatch, I grew an appreciation for 3. A lot of people shit on Jurassic Park 3, and I think rightfully so in some cases. But I grew a greater appreciation for what that film tried to do. But ultimately, like between 1 and 2, I ultimately I had to go. Yeah, one's the superior film in terms of what it aims to do compared to what Lost World tries to do.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But they're two
Lost World, I
completely
think.
different films.
Yeah, I think Lost World definitely leans more into the
Action,
blockbuster.
yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas
Hmm.
like number 1 is more like more true science fiction. Whereas like good
Right.
science fiction film tends to like really ask you ethical, moral questions of like again like should we have done this? Is this okay? Just because we can doesn't mean we should type of thing. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I mean, yeah, as you grow older, you kind of appreciate that stuff a little more than just like, ooh, spectacle, blood, limbs, ah.
Dinosaurs. Yeah.
Even though you still enjoy that, right? You also enjoy a little
Hmm.
bit of like that headiness in your material.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
but I totally get it. Lost World also close second for me too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Hook. I mean, how can you not, right?
Rufio, Rufio,
Yeah.
bangarang.
Uh, and then I know we said directed by and not like producer credits, but An American Tale, specifically Five Will Goes West and produced by Spielberg. Uh, I love that. That is one of, I think, at least top six favorite animated movies for me.
Oh, so underappreciated and so underrated.
Yeah.
There's not a generation that knows about that film, which is kind of sad because I would agree that movie is very very good. Before Pixar was like, yeah, animated films could be for adults. Five Foot was like, yes they can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I would agree with that for sure. Lost World is an honorary mention for me. Hook for what it was. Honestly, it was between Jurassic Park or Hook because I watched Hook
Mm,
almost as much as Jurassic Park. Um, I said it earlier, but Schindler's List. It was between Saving Private Ryan or Schindler's List, in terms of what I thought Steven Steven Spielberg's best film was. You know what I mean? But in
right.
terms of like going with that theme of like, but what do I enjoy more? Uh, it's so weird to say, right? But I do enjoy Saving Private Ryan more than Schindler's List. Not to say that Schindler's List isn't a good film, it's just a really difficult film to watch. I say everyone should watch it at least once, for sure. And I feel like there's like a lot of people in our society right now that could really benefit from a viewing of that film, personally speaking. But yeah, I don't want to watch it again anytime soon. Whereas like Saving Private Ryan, I could watch probably again, and I've watched that movie multiple times. Um, and then finally, my other honorable mention, um, doesn't get talked about a lot, but I think it's a really good action mystery film, and that's Minority Report. I think it's
Mm.
one of like it's like peak Tom Cruise and Spielberg type of chemistry. Where it's like it's a very good action film. It has this really smart mystery film in the future. It's science fictiony as well. It doesn't get talked about a lot, surprisingly, and I think that film's very good.
More than War of the Worlds.
That's a good question because I really love that film too. I feel like that's another really underrated film from Spielberg. But I can see why people don't like that film that much because that film's also kind of dark. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's not necessarily a fun watch, if that makes sense. And usually when you think of Steven Spielberg, I don't know, this is just my opinion. You either think like really dramatic historical stuff, so like Saving Private Ryan, Schindler's List, Lincoln, right? Bridge of Spies, blah blah blah. Or you think super blockbuster kind of fun stuff, so like, Jaws, E.T., Indiana Jones films, blah, 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 right? But you don't tend to think of like the films where he kind of tries to do all of that stuff in one film, which I feel like
Hmm.
World of Worlds kind of is. Not the fact that it's historical, but it's very heavy themes. It's like it's a little dark in tone, because it's not nothing happy happens in that film. It's about an alien invasion and like, and it's him putting you in the ground through the lens of this one family trying to survive this alien invasion. And a lot of crazy stuff happens. You know what I mean? It's a very violent film, a lot of peril, very heavy suspense filled scenes in it. Particularly the one with Tim Robinson, and like
Mm.
it's off screen, which always makes it slightly more horrifying. But Tom Cruise's character has to like kill Tim Robinson off screen because he's like alerting the aliens to where they're hiding. You know what I mean? Like, if you ever watched that film, spoiler alert for like a 12-year-old film.
Sorry.
Um, that movie would also probably be an honorable mention for me because I do enjoy that film. It's not.
Hmm.
I can see how people don't think it's an enjoyable film, but I have enjoyed watching it. It's very unique. I think it kind of stands out in terms of like Spielberg's stuff. So I don't
Yeah.
know. Alrighty, the moment we've all been waiting for, and I really think I know what your number one is, but tell the world, Brian.
Well, why don't you guess?
I really think it's Catch Me If You Can.
Nailed it.
I know you, bro. I know you, boo boo. I know my boo boo.
It is Catch Me If You
I
Can.
knew it.
I
I was like,
love
what?
this film.